And this is what I'm concerned about, that in the rapid rush to develop Georgetown, and in Guyana in particular, right, because we have the fastest growing economy in the world, you have these contractors who are constructing buildings like this that are not necessarily safe, don't necessarily meet international standards for building construction globally. So the danger is that these kinds of buildings are not properly regulated for safety, and they don't follow international rules. The next problem I have with these buildings is that it seems as if no structural engineer, no architect was used. This is what I refer to as a monstrosity, right? There is no architectural feature, there is no grand statement in the design of this building. It's just a bunch of blocks placed one above the other to form 7 stories or 6 stories, and as a result they contribute to the uglification of Georgetown. Right now, I don't know if uglification is a word, but just like beautification, the opposite of beautification is uglification. This is what I refer to as uglification of the city, because no architect, or at least no architect who takes pride in his construction, his buildings, his designs, was involved in the construction of these buildings. And this is what's happening more and more, right? So look at this. This is a building that was demolished, a house, residential building that was demolished. And the tendency is to build taller and build bigger buildings in the same space. And again, if you don't hire an architect because you want to save money, you end up building something that is a monstrosity. And that's the other side of the coin. Right, that's the other side of the problem. See, on this side, that's the Camp Payangana. As I said before, that's the army base here in Georgetown. See, they're also constructing a new building on their campus, new concrete building. And what is common in all these buildings is that they have no architectural detail. Now finally, I want to comment on this new building, or this building that is now being constructed or completed after 20 years. I think somebody started construction on this building 25 years ago and then abandoned it 20 years ago. And now it seems to be under construction again. It's going to be completed now. This is another 6-story building. At least you can see there's some effort to include stairs, fire escape, stairs on the outside, which means that somebody is paying attention to the building codes. The building code says you can't build a 6-story building in Georgetown without an external fire escape, stairs. So somebody's paying attention to that. But this building is located at the corner of Sandy Bab Street and Placentia Road in Kitty. And I'm not sure what it was when they started constructing it, but it seems to be under construction now, 25 years after they started. It seems to be completed as a hotel. So I don't know which hotel this is going to be, but it seems as if this is going to be a new hotel here in Georgetown, Kitty, that is close to the Camp Payangana, which is the army base. Camp Payangana and Irving Street. And I can see there are construction workers who are still working on building. Right, construction workers are working on that building. And they seem to be balconies. They have balconies on each floor, each level, and what appears to be some kind of roof garden under construction. Bar Street and Kitty. At the end of this, in fact, next intersection I believe is Kitty Market. That's Bar Street and Blasinjan Road. So yes, now opposite this building opposite this building on Sandy Bab Street is the old GR Burgers building. I think I did a video of GR Burger, that restaurant that was the busiest business place on Sandy Bab Street about 10 years ago. So the location is interesting. So I don't know if they're completing this as a hotel or if they're completing it as a condominium or apartment building. But like I said again, this is another building built in the old format. It does not have a steel frame. It was built with reinforced concrete. Oh, the third problem which I forgot to explain about reinforced concrete is that over time the rebar inside the concrete begins to corrode and expand, and when that happens the concrete cracks. And so over a period of 20 years or so, 15 to 20 years, you get a building that starts to deteriorate from the inside. There's a couple of guys working on the building there. You have a building that starts to deteriorate, starts to corrode on the inside, gets weaker, and because it's hidden, because the rebar inside the concrete pillars is hidden and they begin to expand when they corrode, the weakening of the building goes unnoticed and then it collapses suddenly. The example of that is what happened in Florida. Right, there were a couple of buildings that collapsed in Florida in the last couple of years, and the idea is that the structure became weaker over time and should have been abandoned or demolished, but wasn't. So that's the danger of constructing these kinds of buildings. But that's the other side of construction, guys. That's the other side of construction I want to point out here in Georgetown, is that while they're building these massive hotels, 9-story buildings, at least those buildings are being built by engineers and architects who are mimicking or copying standards that are global or international. These new buildings, however, they are not. They're being built by locals who are following some very old technological standards and are therefore potentially very dangerous. But that's what's up, guys. Tell me in the comments below what you think about the quality of construction, even as the country, the economy expands rapidly. My concern is that the quality of what we're building is not always of the best, it's not always the safest, it's not always the highest, and that we ought to be really paying careful attention to what is happening. In the construction industry. If you want to see more content like this, click like and subscribe. Share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what's happening here in the fastest growing economy in the Caribbean, in the world, Guyana. Later!